Patricia Richardson, best known for her role as Jill Taylor on the hit sitcom Home Improvement, recently opened up about her relationship with co-star Tim Allen in a revealing interview at the age of 74. While many fans of the show cherish the on-screen chemistry between their characters, the reality of their off-screen relationship was far more complex. Despite the many positive moments they shared during filming, Richardson confessed that she and Allen were never particularly close outside of work. This lack of personal connection would eventually contribute to a series of strained interactions that made their time together on set challenging. In this video, we'll delve into the intricacies of Patricia Richardson's relationship with Tim Allen, examining the key moments that shaped their time on Home Improvement. From differences in their professional dynamic to moments of tension during the series finale, we'll uncover why Richardson has admitted to harboring negative feelings towards Allen. Let's break down the details that provide insight into why their relationship, despite moments of camaraderie, was ultimately filled with strain and discomfort. The professional distance. Despite the seemingly effortless chemistry between Patricia Richardson and Tim Allen on Home Improvement, their relationship remained strictly professional throughout the show's run. Richardson, who played Jill Taylor, the witty and grounded counterpart to Allen's bumbling Tim Taylor, revealed that their connection didn't extend beyond the soundstage. While fans may have believed their convincing portrayal of a married couple suggested a close off-screen friendship, the reality was far more reserved. Richardson has spoken candidly about the dynamic between her and Allen, noting that their interactions were primarily limited to work-related matters. There was no personal bond, no after-hours conversations, and very few moments that blurred the line between coworker and friend. Their exchanges were functional, usually revolving around scripts, timing, and performance. For Richardson, this professional distance was noticeable and at times disappointing, especially considering how often actors develop camaraderie through long-term collaboration. The lack of a personal connection between them didn't necessarily create on-set tension, but it did highlight the contrasting ways actors engage with their craft and co-stars. Richardson brought a thoughtful, collaborative approach to the character of Jill, often offering input into how scenes could better reflect real-life family dynamics. Allen, by contrast, came from a stand-up comedy background, where timing and audience reaction played a larger role than ensemble development. This difference in perspective sometimes reinforced the emotional gap between them. They simply viewed their work, and perhaps each other, through different lenses. Another layer to the divide stemmed from the power imbalance on set. Allen, as the face of the show and a rising star in the 90s, wielded more creative and decision-making control. Richardson, although a co-lead, often found herself navigating that imbalance. She occasionally challenged Allen on creative issues, particularly if she felt Jill's role was being minimized or stereotyped. These disagreements, while not explosive, underscored their lack of personal rapport. In Richardson's view, her commitment to authenticity and balance in the show's portrayal of marriage sometimes clashed with Allen's comedic instincts. Despite working together for 8 seasons, the absence of a deeper relationship meant that once Home Improvement ended, so too did their regular contact. There were no reunions, no continued friendship, just a mutual parting of ways. Richardson's reflections on this dynamic suggest a certain wistfulness, a recognition that while their on-screen partnership worked, it never translated into real connection. In an industry where long hours and shared creative goals often breed strong bonds, the distance between Richardson and Allen stands out. It's a reminder that even the most believable relationships on television can be entirely constructed, existing only within the carefully lit confines of a soundstage. The strained moments on set. The set of Home Improvement wasn't always the lighthearted, laugh-filled environment it appeared to be on television. Patricia Richardson has openly discussed the strained moments she experienced while working alongside Tim Allen, highlighting how the pressure of sustaining a hit show and the imbalance of attention often created tension. Though there were moments of mutual professionalism, the dynamic between the two was far from seamless. One of the key issues stemmed from the fact that Tim Allen, as the title character and the show's central comedic force, naturally became the focal point of much of the production. His rapid rise to fame, fueled by his stand-up career and the success of the show, contributed to an environment where he held considerable influence. Richardson, despite being the female lead and portraying the equally vital character of Jill Taylor, frequently found herself fighting for space, both literally and figuratively, within the show's creative structure. Richardson has recounted moments when Allen's tendency to dominate the spotlight would result in scenes being tailored to favor his comedic timing, sometimes at the expense of more nuanced storytelling or emotional depth. While Allen's charm and comedic instincts were central to Home Improvement's appeal, Richardson was committed to portraying Jill as a fully developed character, not just the foil to Tim's antics. This commitment occasionally put her at odds with the direction the show was heading in certain episodes. There were also moments where the emotional disconnect between the two actors contributed to a colder atmosphere. They were able to maintain professionalism during filming, but Richardson made it clear that there wasn't a deep sense of camaraderie to fall back on when scenes became emotionally complex or creatively challenging. Without that personal foundation, disagreements about character arcs or scene dynamics could feel more isolating and adversarial than collaborative. The lack of a balanced partnership also extended to behind-the-scenes decision-making. Allen's influence often meant he had the final say in many creative choices, which could leave Richardson feeling unheard or undervalued. She's mentioned feeling like her input was sometimes dismissed or overridden, which further strained their working relationship. Although she respected Allen's talents and understood his importance to the show's success, the dynamic remained uneven and at times frustrating. Richardson's honesty about these strained moments shines a light on the realities of working in television, where fame and power can distort even the most seemingly equal partnerships. For viewers, the tension never bled through the screen. Jill and Tim Taylor remained one of TV's most beloved couples. But behind the scenes, that connection was often marked by a quiet imbalance, where Richardson had to continually assert her voice in a space that often prioritized her co-star's presence. The strain, though managed with professionalism, was a constant undercurrent that shaped much of her experience on the show. A pay disparity. The pay disparity between Patricia Richardson and Tim Allen was a significant underlying issue during the later years of Home Improvement and played a role in the show's eventual end. While Allen, as the central figure and executive producer, had substantial leverage in salary negotiations, Richardson found herself earning considerably less, despite her equally critical role as Jill Taylor. Her character was not just the supportive wife, but a strong, intelligent presence that grounded the show and brought emotional depth to the comedic chaos. Richardson was well aware of the imbalance, and it became a growing point of dissatisfaction. She has spoken about how this gap in compensation made her feel undervalued, not just in terms of salary, but in terms of respect and recognition for her contributions. The feeling that she wasn't being treated as an equal partner on a show she helped make successful only deepened the professional strain between her and Allen. When the series neared its conclusion, the issue came to a head. Reports suggest that Richardson was offered a substantial raise to return for a potential 9th season, but it still fell short of what Allen was being paid. She ultimately declined, choosing instead to walk away from a dynamic that she felt no longer served her professionally or personally. The pay gap, along with ongoing tensions, left little room for resolution, and the show ended shortly after. The financial imbalance was not just about dollars. It symbolized the broader inequality she faced. For Richardson, it was another layer of frustration in a working relationship already fraught with power imbalances and unspoken resentment. It underscored how uneven dynamics off-screen often mirrored those behind the camera, and in her case, helped bring Home Improvement to a close. The series finale conflict. During the filming of the Home Improvement series finale, the long-standing tension between Patricia Richardson and Tim Allen came to a head. Richardson later described this period as one of the most emotionally difficult of her time on the show. She felt isolated, unsupported, and even betrayed by Allen, particularly in how the final episodes were handled creatively and interpersonally. One of Richardson's main grievances centered on the way her character, Jill Taylor, was treated in the finale. While the show's closing moments focused heavily on Tim Taylor's journey and celebrated Allen's contributions, Jill was given significantly less emotional closure or recognition. For Richardson, this imbalance felt intentional. She claimed that Allen allowed, or even enabled, a narrative where she was subtly cast in a negative light, particularly because she had made the decision not to return for a potential 9th season. Rather than being portrayed as a co-star who helped build the show's success, she felt sidelined in its final moments. Behind the scenes, Richardson sensed that Allen was disappointed or even angry about her decision to leave. She had declined a lucrative offer to stay on, citing both creative dissatisfaction and personal priorities, including her desire to spend more time with her family. Instead of respecting that choice, she felt Allen's attitude shifted and that he used his influence on set to shape how her departure was perceived, both within the production and to the viewing audience. The atmosphere during the filming of the finale was reportedly cold and strained, with little warmth exchanged between the two leads. Richardson walked away from the series feeling like she had been unfairly painted as the one who gave up on the show. For her, the finale didn't feel like a celebration of a successful partnership, but rather a spotlight on Allen's solo success, with her own contributions quietly minimized. This final experience solidified the emotional and professional rift that had been building for years. The flashing incident on set. One of the more unsettling incidents Patricia Richardson has recalled from her time on Home Improvement involves Tim Allen flashing her on set. She revealed that during filming, Allen exposed himself to her in what he considered a harmless joke. According to Richardson, Allen claimed it was done for laughs, allegedly just before they were about to shoot a scene. While Allen may have believed the act was comedic or lighthearted, Richardson's reaction made it clear that she did not find the incident amusing. Though Richardson has since downplayed the moment to an extent, saying it wasn't threatening, she also acknowledged that it was inappropriate and unexpected. The event raised questions about what kind of behavior was tolerated or normalized in television production environments during the 1990s, especially when committed by a star with significant influence. Allen's actions, regardless of intention, crossed a professional boundary and highlighted an unequal power dynamic that Richardson had to navigate throughout the series. What stands out about the incident is how it reflects a broader issue: the blurred lines between humor and harassment in entertainment settings. Allen's comedic persona, rooted in brash, edgy humor, may have shaped the culture on set, but that doesn't excuse behavior that made colleagues uncomfortable. For Richardson, this moment wasn't just a personal violation. It served as a symbol of the lack of mutual respect she often felt in her working relationship with Allen. The flashing incident remains a disturbing anecdote in the context of their already strained dynamic. While it may have been dismissed by some as just a joke, Richardson's discomfort is a clear reminder that even in seemingly lighthearted environments, respecting boundaries is essential. The story adds yet another layer to the complex and often tense relationship between the two co-stars. The aftermath. Over time, Patricia Richardson has taken a thoughtful and measured approach to reflecting on her years working alongside Tim Allen on Home Improvement. While she hasn't shied away from discussing the difficult and sometimes painful aspects of their relationship, she's also acknowledged the professional success they achieved together. The show was a cultural phenomenon, ran for 8 seasons, and became a defining part of both their careers. But for Richardson, the experience was more than just a career highlight. It was a personal journey filled with lessons about boundaries, collaboration, and self-respect. Richardson has never positioned herself as bitter or antagonistic toward Allen. Instead, her reflections are grounded in a kind of sober honesty. She's made it clear that she appreciated the opportunity and recognized Alan's talent and charisma, but she also openly questioned the imbalance of power and respect that existed behind the scenes. Her willingness to address these issues publicly shows a quiet strength and a commitment to transparency, not to stir up drama, but to tell the truth of her experience. The years following Home Improvement allowed Richardson to step away from the intensity of network television and reassess what she wanted from her work and from her colleagues. She has spoken about how the environment on set taught her valuable lessons about advocating for herself, even in situations where it felt uncomfortable or risky to do so. In particular, her experience underscored how essential it is for women in the industry to speak up when they feel sidelined, underappreciated, or treated unfairly. Richardson's reflections also resonate with a larger conversation about gender dynamics in Hollywood. Her story isn't just about one strained working relationship. It echoes the experiences of many women who have had to navigate male-dominated sets, unequal pay, and limited creative influence. In choosing to be candid about her time with Alan, she's contributed to that broader cultural shift, helping to normalize discussions about professional inequality and emotional labor in the workplace. Since the end of the series, Richardson has continued to work, though she's largely stepped away from the high-profile spotlight. She's focused on roles and projects that align with her values, and she's been an advocate for causes she cares about, including healthcare and political activism. She's also embraced a quieter life, spending more time with family and choosing peace over the spotlight. While her connection with Home Improvement will always be a part of her legacy, she's made it clear that her sense of self-worth isn't tied to it. Richardson's post-Home Improvement journey has been one of healing and growth. By owning her truth and refusing to downplay the complexities of her experience, she's carved out a legacy, not only as a talented actress, but also as a strong, self-aware woman who understands the cost of success and the value of integrity. The relationship between Patricia Richardson and Tim Allen on Home Improvement highlights the often unseen complexities of working in Hollywood. While audiences connected deeply with their portrayal of Tim and Jill Taylor, a relatable, humorous, and loving couple, the reality behind the scenes was far more layered. Over the course of 8 seasons, their professional partnership endured highs and lows, with underlying issues of power dynamics, creative control, and emotional disconnect gradually surfacing. Richardson has spoken candidly in recent years about the nature of her working relationship with Alan. Despite their on-screen chemistry, the two were never close off set. Their interactions were primarily professional, and as time went on, that distance became more pronounced. Working day after day with someone you don't share a personal connection with can be emotionally draining, especially when the creative demands of a hit show require intense collaboration and trust. One of the recurring issues was the imbalance of influence. Alan, as the star and executive producer, held considerable control over the direction of the show, including how certain characters were written and portrayed. Richardson, while a co-lead, often felt her voice wasn't equally heard. She wanted Jill to be a fully realized character, not just the nagging wife stereotype. Her desire to add depth and realism to the show's depiction of marriage sometimes clashed with Alan's more comedic instincts, creating friction between their creative visions. Compounding this was the issue of pay disparity. Richardson was reportedly paid significantly less than Alan, a fact that contributed to her growing frustration. As someone who contributed meaningfully to the show's success, she felt undervalued, not just financially, but professionally. These feelings were intensified during the final season and the lead-up to the series finale, when she chose not to return for a potential 9th season. Rather than being supported, she felt subtly blamed for the show's end, which left her feeling betrayed. Despite all this, Richardson hasn't expressed bitterness. Instead, she's used her experience as a way to reflect on the realities of long-term professional relationships, particularly for women in Hollywood. Her willingness to speak out about her discomfort, frustrations, and disappointments offers a more honest and nuanced understanding of what it's like to work in an industry that often masks real tension with polished performances. Her story is a reminder that what we see on screen doesn't always reflect the truth behind it. It also underscores the importance of mutual respect, communication, and equality in any creative partnership. Richardson's journey serves not just as a reflection on one show, but on the broader challenges many actors face in navigating fame and professional relationships. If you found this video insightful, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more behind-the-scenes stories from your favorite shows, and drop a comment sharing your thoughts on Patricia Richardson's experience. Did her story change the way you view home improvement? Let us know, and don't forget to share this video with fellow fans of the show.